What are you shooting today, Travis?
25 Creedmoor, the 133 Berger Elite Hunter Bullet.
If you want to go to the extreme hunting with 25 caliber bullets, you're going to want to check out this video. Gavin Gear here from UltimateReloader.com. I'm back with Travis Fox. Thank you for joining us, Travis.
Hi, Gavin. Thanks for having me.
We're here to talk about Berger's new 133 grain 25 caliber Elite Hunter bullet. But before that, this is the month of November. You got to hear about the most insane giveaway ever from Mark 7. Mark 7 is giving away the following. We're talking about an Apex 10 10-station reloading press, an 11-inch high-speed case feeder, an auto drive for the Apex 10, a Mr. Bullet feeder, and a Pro die set. Can you believe this? This is an absolute dream reloading setup, and you can enter to win. All you've got to do is go to mark7loading.com/2021-sweepstakes. What are you waiting for? Go enter now. Okay, with the giveaway details out of the way, let's talk about these all-new Berger 133 Elite Hunter 25 cal bullets. We just did the 135.
Yep, that was a great one. Talk about a fun bullet to shoot. Wow. Now we got this 133 hunting bullet.
Mm-hmm. Very similar, only 2 grains difference.
Yep.
But for a different purpose, right? One's a long-range match bullet and one's a long-range hunting bullet. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over some of the same comparison data that we showed you in the 135 video. And that's to take the specifications for the current bullet we're talking about and then compare it for something that would be typical for 25 cal, kind of more across the board. Now, this is another case where bullet manufacturers are pushing things to the extreme. Let's talk about weight. This is a 133 grain bullet. A typical bullet for 25 caliber ranges from 85 grains to 120 grains, maybe for something like a 25-06.
Yeah, the heaviest next in class bullets that I could find were 120 grain for hunting bullets.
A couple of those. There's a 117 out
Yeah,
there.
117, some 115s. Yep. But so we're here, we're 13 grains above anyone else with this Berger.
Absolutely. Of course, it's got a 257 diameter. The G1BC is .613, which is really, really high for a 25 cal hunting bullet. And that's because it's a hollow point boat tail. It's pretty much a match bullet that has been transformed into being a hunting bullet.
It is long and sleek, and you start hitting this 600 BC bullets, they fly. They're fun.
G7BC .315, .280 would be typical for a conventional 25 cal target bullet. And one thing to keep in mind, this is not for Grandpa's 25-06.
No, this is where the caveat comes in with this bullet. You're going to need to have a custom barrel put on your rifle to run this bullet, typically. None of the manufacturers with the production rifles right now are running the recommended twist, which is 1 in 8.
Yep. Now, our rifle has 1 in 7. So, 1 in 8 is recommended. Faster than that is going to be better, as long as you're not blowing up bullets, which we didn't.
No.
1 in 10 is standard. So, yes, if you have a 25-06 rifle, it's likely not to work. This is new territory. This would be great if you have a PRS rifle, like a 25 Creedmoor, that you also want to use for hunting. Next, we're going to talk about lab data. So this was the first time that I set Travis loose in the laboratory alone. I was with Tyler at Moab. You're going to want to check out that video. We were having the time of our lives, driving up rock cliffs and shooting guns, building guns. And Travis was here in the lab alone.
Shooting guns and building guns.
Well,
it was okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't crying.
So we're using precision measurement equipment here. Micrometers, calipers, and precision scales that are getting down and dirty with these numbers. And what I thought I would do here was to show the data that we collected last time for the Berger 135 hybrids and compare that side by side with the 25 cal Elite Hunter 133s. So what's interesting, let's look at the diameter data top and bottom here. This is pretty much a match bullet.
Yeah.
We've got an SD of 1 10,000th of an inch on the diameter data. Same with the match bullet. An extreme spread of 4 10,000ths of an inch, where we had an extreme spread of 3 10,000ths of an inch. And This time we had 257 right on the nose. Last time it was 256.8. So,
Yeah. Well, once again, we come to the yellow box of bullets with the Berger on them. I'm not surprised to see this.
yep.
Very
Now,
consistent, very consistent bullets.
Length data is going to be a little bit more variable with a hollow point that's not trimmed, right?
Right.
Any factory hollow point. But here we saw something pretty equivalent. Like, the bullets are almost the same length. The SD on the Hunter was twice what it was on the match bullet, and then the extreme spread was, almost twice. Still extremely consistent, and length data is not the most critical parameter. And look at this, weight data right on the
Right on the-
nose,
yeah.
averaging 133.0 with an SD of 0.03 of a grain and an extreme spread of 0.08 of a grain. This is actually tighter than the match bullet.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That made me happy.
So good job collecting the data.
Thank you.
Yes, next let's talk about the rifle we used for this testing. So this is an awesome rifle. I actually have this chambered in pretty much all the popular Creedmoors. Not 22, but I've got 6, we've got 25, and we've got 6.5. The 25 Creed being the first barrel that I spun up for this project. We've got a Foundation Genesis 2 stock. I don't know, this is probably one of my faves because of the way that it deadens the recoil and just the mass of it.
The whole combination of this rifle is probably one of my favorites. It's just a little bit heavier bullet, but the Foundation stock it's very kind of dead in your
sucks it up.
hands. It's very fun to shoot. It's super accurate. Gavin builds great rifles. And the Athlon on there is
Yeah.
a wonderful rifle to shoot, and you can really reach out with it. The 25 Creed, you get a little heavier caliber, so it kind of really smacks the target. You get more hit, more impact, more signature, but it doesn't recoil
Yeah.
bad at all.
Yeah, and that's kind of where it sits in PRS land, right? Is a lot of the ballistic performance you're going to get with the 6.5, but with a bit lighter recoil.
This one, the 25 Creedmoor is probably the lightest caliber rifle you're going to be able to run in the NRL Hunter class due to the 380 power factor you got to run.
Interesting. And then the Bartline 24-inch 1-in-7 barrel with 5R rifling, a really, I think, great barrel specification for this particular package. So that's the rifle. Let's talk about the shooting results.
So we went back into the 135 Berger stuff. I looked at a bunch of the data we had on there. I figured I'm just going to roll with the same thing. I'm going to run the Vitatori N555 powder. I did the same thing, 41, 41 and a half, up to 42 and a half. Did 4 different loads, velocity tested them. We could look at our chart right here. The 41 grains, I got 2750-ish. And then all the way down to the 42 and a half, I got 2827.
That's smoking.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty fast. The SDs were pretty good. Surprisingly, group 3 there with the 42 grains had the smallest group, but it had the biggest SD, which is just kind of weird. I don't know if that was due to the trigger finger or what.
Yeah.
I would like to take the 42 and a half grain load and put the Eric Cortina tuner brake on it and see what happens.
I think that would be absolutely a great
See if
way
we
to
can
go.
shrink those groups down
Yeah, let's do it.
and get the velocity out of it.
Okay, so next, we have something that you all have asked for. More ballistics gel testing, and this time, point blank, muzzle velocity plus down level. So test number 1, this is about 2,800 feet per second.
Yep.
Got everything lined up. Got the rifle sighted in on a cardboard box, just like we normally do, right? To get your close proximity offset. Let's see what this looks like. Boom.
Look at that.
See that sonoluminescence, the flash there?
Yep.
Last time we had it on a blanket, this time it's on wood, plywood, and you can see how violent that was. All these...
Look at the gases escaping there. Make your jokes about that if you want.
Exactly.
But wound channel, and then look where the bullet stopped.
Yeah. It just...
Just went into the second block.
Yeah, I mean, literally, if you look at the surfaces, it's basically
So that's
touching.
a 133 grain bullet, 2,800 feet per second, from about 30 feet away.
Yep. If you
So
look at that
that's-
frame where we've got the maximum wound channel, that is massive.
Yeah.
I'm thinking at 2,800 feet per second, this bullet is going to be devastating.
Yeah. So here's the first block. This is an entrance.
Yep.
Here's you guys can see here.
Let's see how much mass we retained.
So it's right here on the surface. I can actually just feel it with my
Yep.
fingers.
If you recall, last time Travis had his whole surgery kit.
I brought some tools from work.
There she is. Look at that, huh?
All right. What do you think?
We've got some particulates there. Let me see. Yeah. Wow, it's just, it's really smooth.
So cool. Wish we could pass this around to you guys so you
Yep.
could see it.
So we've got just a little bit of gel in here. Pick out just a little bit of that. Yeah, right there. We're gonna have a little bit of excess weight here from the gel because we can't.
Trying to make sure that we get the true data for you guys. We don't want to weigh gel.
Let's see. Let's see
Let's
what
see
that
what
weighs.
let's see what we come up with here. There's still a little tiny bit in there. Yeah,
84.2.
84.2.
Okay, 84.2 divided by 133 is 63% retention on that.
So there are fragments. If you look in here, there's copper jacket fragments.
Mm-hmm.
There's some lead. There's some lead fragments. It's interesting. The lead fragments are like right in this area here. That's pretty. This is just such an interesting study for us, you guys.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to be able to share this with everybody.
Yep. So this is 2,800. Now,
Yep.
we wanted, from the feedback from the last video we did comparing match and hunting bullets, you all asked for down-loaded loads.
You guys wanted to know what was going to happen to the bullet at distance. Say you shoot an animal at 400 yards, 500
yards.
800 yards,
Yeah.
whatever. So I took the time, I calculated out, I looked at the ballistic chart, and I figured, okay, the maximum distance, and most of the hunting bullets companies, they're telling us that reliable expansion is going to happen at 1,800 feet per second and above. So we downloaded down to 1,800 feet per second. On this bullet, that would be approximately an 800-ish yard shot, depending on your altitude, et cetera, all that stuff. So now we're going to show you what is 1,800 feet. Where do you think that's going to be?
Yeah.
You might be surprised.
Okay, we'll talk about that next. So here's our setup from the second test. This is the down level test. We're about 1,800 feet per second.
Yep.
You can see we reused one of the blocks from the last test because our thinking here is it's going to stay in the first block.
Yeah,
Basically.
it's going to stay in the first block, right?
Yeah, let's see what actually happened. So we're waiting, and boom.
And it went, and I was like, whoa. Well, I walked up to the block and I went, what in the world?
Yeah. A little harder to see frame by frame, but look at this sonoluminescence here. Snap. Wow. It's just a big flash.
So since we're not expanding as much, and you're not shedding any of the bullet material, you're not losing the energy, the bullet is able to maintain its energy and actually go further, crazy enough, further than what it did at 2,800 feet per second.
So picture you're a skydiver and you jump out of an airplane with your parachute deployed. You're going to slow down really quick, obviously. Doesn't matter how quick you were going initially. But if, you jump out of the airplane with no parachute, you're just not shedding the speed.
Right.
In the same kind of way. So let's take a look at this bullet and see how much mass we retained this time.
See this one right here?
Interesting.
Look at that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The start of some expansion, and we did get the lead nose out there.
Yeah,
so
interesting.
some expansion.
127.6.
Interesting. Okay, so 127.6 divided by 133 is 96%. And you can see that pedal that is kind of folded back. Yeah, it shedded very, very little. I'm guessing there could be a couple copper fragments in there. And
Yeah,
and some lead that was shed just a little bit. Okay, another thing that we learned. So I stated emphatically in the video comments from our match versus hunting bullet story that this black here was part of the fabric that was shed from our moving blanket in the last story. It is not, because there was no black fabric. We had the same black, what byproducts of combustion, lead, lead.
the gases. It's the gases just
Yeah.
from the probably following the bullet in the air.
Yep.
It's just, and it's a dieseling effect too, as I think is what I read too. It's that compression causes an ignition of whatever gases are in there.
Yep, very interesting. Okay, so we were curious, how would this compare to that 143 ELDX bullet? We're going to talk about that next. So here we are with a very, very similar test with Hornady's 143 grain ELDX bullet.
Versus the
1,800 feet per second, where we had previously tested at full,
Right.
What was 2,700, 2,750?
Something like that,
6.5 Creedmoor velocity. Let's see what that ELDX bullet did at a down level velocity. Again, this is more like 1,800 feet per second. Boom. Again, it went really far. You can see here, you're going to have to wait for the full story. Most of the mass was retained, not a whole lot of expansion.
So we're gonna do another story here in a couple weeks, revisiting that with downloaded bullets.
Including the match bullet as well. We ran out of ballistics gel today, so we're going to have to come back and set everything up again. So what does this tell us?
High velocity is king. That's where you're going to get the expansion on the bullet. So what do we want to do about that?
Well, we've tested at pretty much maximum muzzle velocity. We've tested now at the minimum spec near that point for reliable expansion. I think you're going to be making a lot of ballistics gel blocks and filtering a lot of this stuff, but we need to step in. We need to go 200 feet per second increments or something like that, I would say.
We're going to do something. I want to know what people's thoughts are on this, because I'm curious. I'm like, I think we need to do high velocity, low velocity, and then how many gaps in between should we fill in? Where do we go from this? But we're really curious, and I'm sure you guys are too.
Yep. The more data you collect, the more you feel like you need to collect in the future. It's a bit of a sickness, but that's what we do here, right? I think another great follow-up would be taking a deer with this bullet.
Okay.
With this 25 Creedmoor. What a killer setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killer setup.
Yes, absolutely. Pun intended, I guess. Okay, but what we want to know is, what do you think about these bullets? The 135s, the 133, the whole notion of hunting with a 25 caliber high BC bullet. Drop a comment and start a discussion. These are great Berger bullets. You'll find them at Mid-South Shooter Supply, and don't forget, if you're still in the month of November, you got to enter that Mark 7 giveaway. It's a killer package.
It's a great deal.
Thank you, Travis, for all the hard work.
Thanks, Gavin. Appreciate it.
That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up.
I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Also, make your voice heard. If you have something to say, please drop a comment. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications, because you're not going to want to miss the awesome content that is coming up. And finally, flex your reloading pride. You could look great in one of these t-shirts. We've got multiple designs at the Ultimate Reloader store. I'll see you later, because I'm off to go shooting.